Okay. The big three: bid build, CMGC, design build. You've done all three of these in the States. My understanding is what Will said, 3 to 5 now design build projects and 3 CMGC projects. Did I get that number right? So Tennessee has some experience with each of these. They're fundamentally different. From a conceptual standpoint, CMGC is a lot like bid build. The relationships are similar. The responsibilities are similar. Ultimately, the owner's responsible for that set of plans in the design. Design build is inherently different. The design builder is responsible for that design. And the business relationships that form underneath that design build contract are also different from the traditional process. You have designers working for contractors, and that's been a difficult road to hoe for some A&E firms. But it is part of the culture of design build, and teaming up with the right business partners is very important in design build contracting. Yesterday I told the contractors that this chart is not based on any reality. It's one of those Federal Highway Headquarters graphs that talks about concepts, but it talks about risk and how risk is shared and how risk is reduced with some of these delivery techniques. On the far left is bid build, where all the risk is owned by the owner, essentially, in delivering a project. And the owner, through the Spearn Doctrine, has all the liability for anything it specifies. The risk begins to shift to the industry as you move to the right with CMGC, then design build and public-private partnerships. And at some point, there's a happy medium of risk. And at least we feel from the projects that we've seen that happy medium is with CMGC, where the CM firm is involved in the design process. Hopefully the risk is flushed out early in the design process, and there's a balance of risk between the industry and the contractor and the agency as they let that project. On the far right, you have design build and public-private partnerships, and with 3 Ps, that's the opportunity the public has to shift most of the risk for a project to the private sector. And in the DC metro area on the Capital Beltway, I-66, we've got public-private partnerships that are 50 and 75 years in term. That developer is responsible for traffic counts, for tolls, for designing, constructing, operating, and maintaining that facility for 50 to 75 years. So they've taken most of the risk for that project, and it's just one method to shift risk. Is it the most cost-effective? That's arguable. Anyway, this is the spectrum of contracting and risk shifting that can be done with some of these delivery methods. Comments or questions? Have you had these discussions yet with industry about this is too much risk for us? If you haven't, yes. They will come up from time to time.